Okay, I think we have sound now. I All right, y'all let me know if we got sound. I think we got sound now. Let me mute this. I'm gonna echo myself. There we go. Okay. That was y'all just missed the most amazing intro ever because I had no sound. But Amy and Michaela, let me know. Yes, Michaela, there is sound. Yay. All right, thank you. That was, see, y'all missed the most amazing intro ever. So what happened was I made sure my sound on here. Oh, I got another area. So y'all can see my messy desk here. I made sure the sound was working on my little switcher here, but I forgot to do it on the main computer in there. So I'm live streaming from in there, and I can see a thing from down here. So yeah, yay sound. It helps when there's sound. Anyway, welcome to a live stream, OrthoLab live stream. I don't know what I'm going to call it. Kind of sometimes I run out of ideas. So if y'all get any ideas, put them in the chat below of something you want me to cover on a Friday. Sometimes my Fridays are kind of light, sometimes they're heavy, but I'm actually going live later today. I'm trying for later today, see how it goes. So anyway, today is just going to be some basic wire bending. I don't know if you're in an ortho lab yourself or not. What your Fridays are like. Some ortho labs Fridays are super busy because Monday there's a big order that has to go out and has to be there. So the Friday for us is sometimes slow, and then our Monday is very busy. So that's why I try to live stream on Friday. And I used to want to do it at noon, but it keeps moving down because I keep having to get stuff out. And so I had some stuff I had to ship out today, and so I had to get that done. But I'm going to be working on stuff that I'm going to deliver on Monday or Sunday. I can't remember which, but anyway. Uh, oh, I wish that would the embarrassed tongue. Yeah, Usama. After the holidays, live stream can be your yes, live stream. I like that. See, I was thinking of just starting like a generic Ortho Lab live stream, but I like Ortho Lab live stream. I like that, Michaela. That's good. So today I'm just bending some basic hollies, and actually I don't know if I've ever done this before. If I've done a bonded lingual, I can't remember if I've done that. So that's what we're going to start with. I have actually adjusted my camera this time, and so I should have a pretty good picture here. Let me get my picture-in-picture going of this. Will this work? Yes? No? Preview to program. There we go. I think that'll work. Just so you can see me and you know when I'm talking. But today we'll start with a lingual arch. We'll probably bend a retainer. If I get some questions that I can answer with these retainers, I might do like if I need to do acrylic or something like that. I can probably sprinkle some acrylic here, and we can go from there. But this is actually all they want. This doctor wants a lingual arch, the bonded lingual, not lingual arch, what I'm talking about. And so I like to actually draw mine. We don't have a duck cam today. I could not get one set up. I need one more phone holder so that it can be out there. In fact, I see my wife out there feeding them. But this is bonded lingual. Now, if y'all don't know, this is my favorite model holder here. I just get used to it. But you need trimmed models to go on it. And obviously this thing is not trimmed, as you can see here. So here's another little trick that I like to do. Let me see if I can get I think I showed these last week. This is from my former boss, Jason Brown. He showed me about these. These are like hedge trimmers for your garden. If you don't have a model, uh, trimmer. I like to use these. And I got my trash underneath me. Let's see if I can get this in the camera. Doot, doot. Oh, there goes Pete. Here, let me switch the camera real quick. Maybe y'all can see it better. Disregard my trash. So I'm just hovering over my trash can here and trimming these. This is a little thick in the back, but as you can see, it made a pretty good job of trimming this down. Now, I didn't do this. If this was a retainer, I would definitely get rid of that. Like a acrylic and wire retainer, I would definitely get rid of that. But for right now, oh, is that working now? All right, let me check my settings. Okay, and audio, cam link. Looks like I'm getting. Wow, that was weird. That was weird. That hadn't happened today. Amy, Elsa's powers are strong today. It's frozen. Oh yeah, that's hilarious. Oh, okay, I'm coming back. Hopefully, all right. Let me know if y'all can hear me. I'm coming back to the camera now. Let me close that door. Something happened with my browser in there, and the browser disconnected my camera. So if y'all don't know, I'm running this through a program called StreamYard, and it's a multicam switcher broadcaster but it's built inside of a web browser, so there's no software to download. And so, yeah, that's what happened. Something happened in there that it disconnected my camera, or it thought it disconnected my camera, so I had to actually physically plug it back in. So love that. Yeah, it's working now. Perry, you're back. The sound is great. Okay, good. All right. So what was I talking about? Perry. Oh, yeah, my Form 2 still going. Bought that thing in 2018, 2019. 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 5 years old. That thing's still going. So like I said, my Form 3 broke. Something happened. I tried a new setting where it prints faster. It's a new beta setting in there, and it's supposed to print twice as fast, but it was like pulling on my uh, resin tank really hard. So I don't know if it messed something up, because a couple prints after that, it said the tensioner stopped working. So I've been talking with Form support. So this weekend, I get the lovely opportunity to break that thing down and clean it. Maybe some resin seeped in there, got into the gears. I got to clean it. But I switched over to the Form 2, still going, still printing. Yeah. So it's great to have a backup of the Form 2, because I didn't realize that that was going to break on me. And I just switched over to the Form 2. Still printing. So yeah, it works out great. All right, so this bonded lingual, I use, this doctor doesn't want any loops, doesn't want any sort of like index or matrix or something over the top of this to hold it. She likes to hold it in with floss. And so I am going to bend this, and what I use is 028. And that's the great thing about this, is I can just use a little piece of 028 that I have. So, you know, you bend something with a wire and you clip it, and you get all this stuff, you know, over to the side. I don't know if you can see that. What if I do this? You can see my collection of little pieces of wire over here. Wait, what happened to picture in picture? Jeez, Cade, this is terrible. All right, well, we'll just do this. So I'm gonna make sure that is 028. So pretty much right there where I drew it, she does like it a little high, a little, you know. I usually bend these right on that little cingulum, right on the bottom of lower down. And then she also likes these to be bent. Let me cut a nice fresh end. She also, let me get a pen here, a marker. And I'm gonna put a mark right here at this bend. See, I don't like bending these. And one thing that I've noticed is that on 3D printed models, I struggle a lot. So, and I think she switched, and she complained about, you know, it wasn't bent exactly, um, the, you know, exactly the way she wanted. And man, I thought I was bending them great. Then she switched to these back to these plaster models. I think, you know, saving a little money. If I'm not mistaken, I think doctors, um, they get charged for every scan they do. So, and of course, I was charging her to print the model. So, speaking of 3D printer, I actually lost that. She's not printing anymore. She went back to taking impressions, which is actually pretty amazing. I have a plier that I need. So hold on a second. Where is my pliers? Right over here. So I have my QC desk over across. Check my channel if you are interested in a tour of the lab. I kind of gave a live stream tour of the lab. Or maybe I didn't. I know I did a one covering. Why am I burping so much? I'm sorry. I'm gonna. Sorry, that's making you sick. Yeah, let's do this. Let's do this. I didn't save it last time. Now I forgot where it was at. All right. So I'm just kind of making this curve around. The point of these is you need to touch each of the teeth, and hopefully I got a pretty good shot of that. Oh, what I was saying was the 3D printed models, I was bending these on 3D printed models, and I just couldn't get them exact the way she wanted. And I don't know what it is. I got a sample model here, but I think what I figured out is these models, I thought bending against something darker would be good, but I think these models are just semi-translucent, the type of material I print in. Maybe if I change the material to more of an opaque material, but these are kind of a little bit translucent, and so my eyes were having a hard time focusing. But these models are opaque, and so my eyes can, see them better, uh, and that way I make more accurate bends. That's the only thing I can come up with because I'm not bending these any different than I did before. And again, I would say I'm not the best at these. I get frustrated easy. Um, it's a little wire, but it cost her a lot. And she's willing to pay because it saves her time. But mainly what I'm charging for on this is my time. You could bend one of these pretty quick, uh, if you want it to, but you know, it just kind of, I get stuck on them sometimes, and I'll find myself 30 minutes into it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to hurry up and finish this because I'm tweaking this or I'm tweaking that. Hopefully y'all can see that. Let me pull this in just a bit for a little bit. Well, I'm trying not to get y'all sick. My little camera mount is a little top heavy, so it it jiggles a little bit. So hopefully y'all can see as I'm just working from one side to the other. Another way to do it is just make an arch and then try to adapt it that way. So I'm looking straight down on it. So that view you see right there is my view. I'm looking straight down on it, making sure I can see it where everything's bending. I got another mark right here. Let's see if I can you can see this mark or not. If I need to use a white pencil, I will. Yeah, I think y'all can see that black mark. So I'm just going to I got these really tiny 3 prongs. Love these things. They make just the most small little bends. And so every time I put it back, I got to put it back in the same spot. I could even mark the end of this tooth here to make sure, I don't move it too far that way or too far this way. Let's see. I'm going to put a little bend right here. I'm going to bend that toward me. So as I'm bending this, I'm keeping this parallel. And then I'm going to do something unusual. I'm going to take this and I'm going to put a right angle in it. All right, so now I have a handle. And now this piece of the wire is not interfering back here where this model is. And it's up and out of the way. Sorry, my thing is squeaking. Let me get this curled in a little bit. But again, you can see how much time this saves the doctor. Plus, the doctor is probably doing this in the patient's mouth. And so the patient just has to sit there and hang out with their mouth open. The doctor comes, puts it in, checks it, maybe marks it, pulls it back out, and makes a bend, checks it, puts it back in. Some of these doctors are just unbelievable wire benders. They're just awesome. I've seen them make some bends and arch wires that are just absolutely amazing. All right, so now I'm getting to the point where I think I'm getting close. Just doing the contours. And she wants it contoured even, with these teeth that are crooked. I guess she just can't get that tooth to straighten up with braces. Or, maybe this kid is getting out of their braces sooner than they should. Maybe they're transferring or something like that. And they're like, yeah, I'm good with the way my teeth are. So she's like, well, let me put a Bonded in there and hold them where they are. Sometimes I'll get these on adult patients and they're very crooked. And the adult patient's like, hey, I don't want to bend. I don't want to be in braces again. I don't want to straighten them, but I can tell they're getting worse. Can you just put one of these in? And one of these bonded lingual retainers. Can you just put one of these bonded lingual retainers in? And, just to keep them from getting worse. I've also seen doctors use this. Let me keep this short. So I'm going to turn this around. Sorry, what I was saying was I've seen doctors use these for the teeth are actually mobile on some patients that have periodontal disease or something like that, and their teeth are just drifting down there, and they need some support so they can solidify. So as you can see, I've changed my view. So now I'm looking this way. And that's what I like about this model holder is I can just move this around and I don't have to worry about holding the model while I work on it. But again, Steve Zara made an excellent video on why he doesn't use a model holder. He just got used to bending just straight on the table. All right, so I'm ready to cut this. And she's told me she doesn't want these going all the way across. Maybe right there. Again, we used to put loops on here, but she has found that just doing the straight wire is more than enough retention. What she'll do is she'll take floss, maybe 4 or 5 pieces of floss, and thread them through the teeth and around this wire, and she'll take the floss over here and pull on it and pull this tight, and then she'll bond it to teeth. Of course, they're going to etch each tooth, and they'll put a primer on it and all that jazz to bond it on there, and then they'll light cure it. So each tooth is going to be bonded. There's going to be a little dollop of glue on each tooth. Some orthodontists like these, some don't. Some put them on every single patient that they can. And mainly because these lower anterior, they move very, very easily. If anything's going to crowd in your mouth fast, it is going to be these lower anterior. They're just small, their roots are small and shallow. So there we go. That is sounds V2 loves you. What's V2? I don't know what V2 is. Sorry. Oh, version 2 loves you, Form Labs. My wife has decided to join. No, just watch it. Oh, because you're messing with the chickens and ducks? Oh, I do have a special. Hey, Sarah, when you get a chance. Oh, Michaela, yours fell off? That does happen. Hey, you had a lower bonded lingual, right? I think when we met in college, you still had it. Yeah, so my wife, you can't hear her, but she said she had one. But you had like crowns on the molars, right? No, not on the molars, on the canines. They had bands on the canines and then bonded to the bands. So, oh, we were just talking about bonded linguals. Yeah, Michaela said hers fell off. So yours came loose and they ended up just removed it. Oh, she had them top and bottom. Tops are a little difficult because they do the thing. Oh, I'm going to show you. Look at the screen in there. I uploaded something. Since we didn't have a duck cam, I uploaded this. You ready? Yeah. So it's funny that StreamYard is this is Puddles, their mascot. So StreamYard is what I'm streaming on, and so this is Puddles. So there's my duck cam when I don't have a duck cam. They have one I'm trying to get has a Santa hat on. Oh yeah, son has a hedgehog. Sawyer, he's been on the live stream. He usually edits these. And he's got a hedgehog named Bagel. And we found a Santa hat for it. We ordered it today. We're going to put it on it. It is hilarious. So that's it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my heatless wheel here, and I'm actually going to scuff up at least these ends. So that's going to help with a lot of helping with retention, giving it some mechanical retention. There we go. And I used to micro etch them too, but I think this gives it enough mechanical retention. And I always go back and just double check, make sure everything is lined up, it looks proper. Now the way I used to deliver these to the doctor is I would put a little bit of wax on there. And then once that's set up, it would hold that in place, and I would just send the model back to the office. But yeah, so there we go. But I stopped doing that because it might have been, I might start doing it again. I do like these the sticky wax, and I've explained it before, but the sticky wax is very brittle. And so it's real easy for them to just fracture this. This isn't totally set up yet, but just fracture this. Because if I use any other wax, I feel like when they go to pull on it, it's going to bend it, and they're going to have a hard time trying to refit it back to the teeth. But you can actually just break this off like this. Actually, it's still a little warm, so we'll leave that. So that is one case, and I put it back in the pan. And I'm drifting over to the side. So the other alternative okay. I was looking at one. Let's do an upper. Here's one with extra wires on it. I don't like that model that they trim, so I'll get one or the other when it comes to that model. Cute duck. Yeah. Oh, nice. Those are actually mallards in there. I like that. So this is going to be a regular holly retainer. Again, they gave me like a one that they trimmed down for an Essex, I think. And maybe they made an Essex on this, I don't know, temporarily. But this does have, let me see if I can hide the name here. There we go. So as you can see from the prescription I get from EasyRx, it has these distal finger springs. Just the whole, you can see now that we're talking about bonded linguals, can y'all see that? So Michaela talked about having top and bottom bonded lingual retainers. But if I can get the light bright, you can see right here. Here, I'll trace it so you can see it. There's a bonded lingual right there. So if I zoom in, yeah, there's a bonded lingual in there. You can barely see it, but oh, resin. Yeah, Perry, I'm using draft version 2 resin. Yeah, bending regular things are fine on the outside, and most everything that we bend on here is fine. But man, doing those linguals on here, I can't figure out why I was struggling so much. And I think it was the color, and I'd have to like set my light down real low so I can see shadows and stuff on there. But anyway, let's bend this one, and we can call it a live stream. Right now, I'm just picking the bubbles. And that's one thing that you don't get with 3D printed models, is you don't get these bubbles like this. I guess the only thing you would get is just missing data. Like they don't scan. Kind of like if they don't get the full impression back here on these teeth, it just doesn't exist on the model. And so that's about the only thing is that we deal with, is just missing data. The scanners have gotten pretty good about stitching, you know, while they're scanning the mouth, stitching it all together. But sometimes it'll mess up and kind of be hard to deal with, or the computer doesn't like it. So we're going to put some undercut wires here. And I believe I've done those before on here, but we'll do them again. And of course, a labial bow going across the front, and then loop here, going across the front, loop here. And acrylic wise, you can see this is going to be a very shallow retainer. So this is where I'm going to need to cut my acrylic. And actually, this patient will probably appreciate, you know, not having a full palette. Which this isn't bad, because this is probably about where I would cut the acrylic anyway, if I was working, if I had the full palette model. Now this is going to be hard to handle, hard to work with. One thing I could do is, I do this with 3D printed models that come out that way, is I'll take these models here. Let me see if I can get a better shot. Nope. Yep. Nope. So I'll take these models here, and there's just a plaster base, and I'll put this on here, and I will hot glue this thing. There's no light, is there? It's getting dark outside. I'm losing my light. Oh well, y'all can kind of see. So then I'll just hot glue this thing to this model, and that just gives me, you know, my hands will cramp up if I start dealing with this thing. And I run into that with 3D printed models also. So we got, then when I go to this, you gotta be careful not to burn yourself. I found these orange hot glue sticks on Amazon, and I love them because orange is my favorite color. But as you can see, you can kind of see in this, the model is kind of, so the model is easier to clamp on my thing here. I gotta get a wider shot. I'm so zoomed in on my overhead cam that it's hard to deal with. So as I'm holding it, and especially when I'm sprinkling it, if I was holding just this part, my hand kind of cramps up because it's so small. I got kind of big hands, so dealing with small models is kind of hard for me. But let's finish prepping this. So since there was a upper bonded or model, what am I trying to say? Michaela, what's it called? Lingual arch. No. I'm having a brain fart right now. Bonded lingual. There's an upper bonded lingual here. I'm going to wax it out, especially the gingival side of it, because the acrylic, this is actually a really nice job. I don't think I made this one. This is probably chair side, and probably because the teeth they're a little bit easier to bend. But you can see they got to go very gingival, because if you look at some teeth, they may actually have a, there we go. let's see if I can get this in the camera here. So this is an upper and lower model of the same patient. So I don't have the lower to this one, so otherwise we'd be using that one. But as they come together here in occlusion, and you look at it on the inside, like this, you can see exactly where those lower teeth are hitting. So sometimes you cannot get a lingual wire on there. So now if I open this up, you can see now if I put a lingual wire on here, it's got to be below this line because the lower teeth are actually hitting right at this line or above it. Get in the center here. And so you would actually have to like bend it, go down, go up, go down, go up, go down, go up, like that. I've seen it done that. I've been them that way too. It's not a very good drawing, but you can kind of see why sometimes the upper bonded, I don't get very many upper bonded linguals. Either they do them in-house, and it's easier for them to do those in-house than the lower bonded linguals. But here we go. Oh, hey, I got a fellow channel here. Love the channel. It's an educational aspect. I use my channel to teach dental assistants what to do. Hopefully enough to get you decent impressions and pour-ups. I like it. Decent impressions of pour-ups for your cases out there. That is big, well put dental things. We are only as good as the impression you give us. That's true in Ortho Lab and Dental Lab and everything. I actually had a doctor who was very meticulous in the impressions he gave me because he was like, Kate, if I give you ish, S-H-I-T, you're going to give me ish appliance back. So I can't expect a top-notch quality appliance without giving you a retainer, a good model. Now, if I give you a good model and you give me a crappy retainer, hey, we're going to have some other issues. But I cannot expect for you to have give me back a good appliance without doing that. So dental things, people go subscribe. I'm going to go subscribe to this. So yeah, very good point. We can only be as good as the models you give us. Thank you for that. Amy, I don't work in an ortho lab. I just enjoy your live streams. I love learning about different things. I've always been interested in orthodontics. So with that said, I've always wondered what the... Oh, it got cut off. What the what? What the what? Michaela, my brother is a dentist. Oh, very cool. So you know a lot about this, or maybe if he talks to you, if you get to go into his office. What's the longest amount of time you hunted for a tooth on the floor or wherever it landed? Oh God, an hour? Maybe? Okay, so I worked in a dental lab one time, and they did gold crowns, and they lost that thing. Like he was walking with it or something. He had just gone and steamed it and cleaned it, and he was walking back to the bench, and he like hit his hand on his pocket, and it knocked the gold crown out, and he immediately looked down. I mean, that thing's probably had $1,000 worth of gold on it. And so it was all hands on deck looking for that thing, and it probably took a good hour. And we found it like tucked behind a leg coming down under the bench here. There's a bench there. It was tucked behind it. So somehow it dropped and it rolled behind that. We finally found it. Now, appliances are a different story. We searched for 3 hours for one, a lower lingual arch. And we actually started remaking it because sometimes it's faster to remake it than to go find it. And we actually found one, like if I look at this chair and you know the wheels that are underneath it, we found it in the wheels of the chair. So it got dropped. The person rolled back and it got caught in the wheel of the chair. And I only found it because I lifted up the chair to get it out of the way because we were sweeping the floor. We were looking. And then I looked up underneath. I saw something shiny on the wheels. Can you see it in this? No, you won't be able to see it. Anyway, you can see a rolling chair. It was in the crazy stories like that. Yeah. sometimes it's faster just to remake it than to look for it again. My son, who started pumicing, has already lost a couple, and they bounced around, and we found it on the floor under something. Those retainers will take and the teeth too, because you hear it hit, and you watch it hit, and then it goes, poof, disappears. It's like magic. The purpose for the arches are for on the outside bow do. The purpose of arches are for on the outside bow do. Okay, so we'll bend one in a second, but the labial bow on the outside, that is a retentive bow to keep the teeth up against the acrylic. So you have acrylic on the inside. Let's switch back to this. So you have acrylic on the inside here. You'll have a metal wire on the outside here, and it'll have arches, these adjustment loops, and the doctor can actually adjust those loops and will actually can make it tighter or looser. They can also put little bends in here, and they can actually adjust the movement of a tooth by putting a bend in the labial bow. So if they put a little bend going in, it'll push this lateral in. There's some tricks they can do on the outside for that. Oh, he's in Arizona. I'm in Boise. Didn't you say up here we had a first snow in Boise? Oh my gosh. I guess he didn't have any snow. So you don't get to visit him much. But that's cool. So Amy, I guess you're not in Ortholab. I do the same thing. I watch a car mechanic that likes to go out into the field and find an abandoned car that's been there for 30 years, work on it for a day, drive it out of the field and drive it home. I find that amazing. And I'm not much of a car mechanic. I do a little bit, but yeah, I find that amazing. So that's what I love about YouTube and getting to work with, getting to see how other people work. Everybody knows those, Instagram videos, and it shows like this master at doing what he or she does best. You know what I mean? And it's just amazing to watch them work. I don't find this amazing to watch anymore, but I've been told it's neat to watch. I've actually, during Thanksgiving, my wife's cousins were here, and her 9-year-old son wanted to see what I did. And so I took an extra model I had lying around. I made him a retainer, what color, and then I bent a little bit of wire for him, made an Essex, that kind of stuff. So it was neat they just found it really neat. And I forget about that sometimes, that this industry is such an artistic industry that I forget, some people will find it pretty neat and to watch. Oh man, I usually try to keep these going an hour. So let me see how far I can get on this in 15 minutes. Because I think I start at 4:45 here. So right now I'm prepping I'm prepping this model, and these undercut wires are just going to slip right in between those teeth. So I'm removing a little bit of the gums. Again, these won't be removed. In the mouth, they'll just be kind of pushed out of the way by the wire. And so I'm going to take a little knife here. I'm going to clear that out right there, and right there, there. Okay. Now, put my first layer separator on. It just needs a few drops. What do I do with my paintbrush? Here we go. Now this separator that I'm putting on here actually keeps the acrylic from sticking to the model. So that is, some people call it tinfoil substitute, although this is a little bit different than old school tinfoil substitute. I think this pink stuff's silicone based, if I'm not mistaken. There we go. So I'm going to take 020 wire. I'm going to smooth the end off. And I'm going to bend. They just want little holding wire. So this is just an extra. These distal holding clasps are just extra. Not well, they can be used as retention, but just helping to hold these teeth. So what's probably happening is this patient probably tends to get gaps between their front teeth, and so the orthodontist, she bonded a lingual wire in there, and then if something happens to the lingual wire, she has these little wires here that I put between the teeth. She has these little wires here that are going to help. Either they'll hold them, keep them from spreading, or she can activate them and actually move the teeth back. And Amy, you talked about the purpose of that outside labial bow. That's also, you can actually slide teeth and use that bow as a guide. So I'm going to put a little wax to hold this in place. Ooh, before I do that, I always have to put 2 layers of this stuff on. As you can see, it does not take long to dry. I put a little too much on there. Perfect. I feel like Bob Ross sometimes painting this stuff on. So now I'm going to brush hair on there. I'm going to wax it down. And then I'm going to wax it on the lingual. So this will block acrylic from getting around that wire. So it's going to make a little void under the acrylic. So just in case she has to activate these in the future. So this part back is going to be in the acrylic. This part forward is not, but it's going to be under the acrylic. So if the acrylic goes to about this line or a little bit higher, this black line, it will actually be able to sweep underneath it like this. It'll move underneath it. It's pretty cool. And so because usually if you activate those and there's no acrylic on top, it'll spring upwards. Oh, so the loops are adjustments. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, actually, let me show you real quick. This is a different type of appliance. This is called a wraparound. I've made one of these before, but I haven't QC'd this yet. But this is one. So this is a wraparound. This one is going to go around the canine here, the cuspid, and then go across the occlusion into the acrylic. This one, you make a loop here, and then you start bending it backwards. So it's all one wire starting in here, going all the way around. And so the doctor will take a special plier called a 3-prong, and we'll take that adjustment loop, and we'll squeeze it. Like this, squeeze. It just slightly squeezes it, which will make this tighter. So it gives it a little bit of flexibility too. All right. So as they go and seat this on the mouth, that will actually stretch. These teeth are broken, but it'll stretch over the teeth and then snap back. So, and then if any teeth start to drift, start getting out of the way or becoming crooked again, it will actually have enough stretch to go around that tooth and pull it back in and get it straightened again. But yeah, that's what it's for. Where in AZ? I've lived in, oh, yeah, Michaela. Oh, we got someone who is. That'd be cool if Amy had gone to your brother as a dentist. I have those on my top retainer. Oh, those little distal springy things. Distal anterior springs, I believe is what it's called in EasyRx. So let me make this other one real quick. Again, I don't know if you can see that, but that is really sharp. When you cut them with the wire cutter, it makes it really sharp. It'll poke you. And I don't want them to get poked, so I round off any wires that are going to go in the mouth like that. So I just lay that in there like that and just bend it over the occlusion, bend it up. And then I'll just bend it down. So you can see where I bend it, that's going to be the fulcrum of this thing, that sweeping arm of this. Wish I had a retainer that had this already built in as an example, so you can see the final product. If I remember, I'll take a picture of the final product of this and post it on YouTube channel or Facebook or both or something, so you can see the final product. Sometimes these wires get... Hey, Perry, this is another one that if you lose, you may take a while. Well, so I was, with the labial bow, or an Adams clasp, and it's always, and teeth too. You do that final. You're like, okay, one more adjustment. Let me get that thing perfect, and it shoots out of your hand and across the room, and you cuss a little bit, and then you go find it where you heard it last. Your ears perk up like a Labrador retriever. It's like, oh, I heard it, 3 clicks to the west from me, and you go find it, and if you like a labial bow, once you get fast, you can bend them in under 10 minutes. If you're starting to take 5 minutes or so to look for that, sometimes it's just easier to bend a whole new one. Okay, so I've got, let's see, 030 wire is what I use. So that was 020. This is 030. So a 1/10 bigger. And I'm going to... So the order that I bend is I usually bend labial bow first on the upper, and then any clasp, unless there's a spring. And I'll always try to bend those first because I'll forget about them. But I don't have a good attention span. I'll just get in such a mode of bending a labial bow and the clasp that I will forget to bend the finger spring or little auxiliary or whatever the doctor wants extra on it. And it's so frustrating to have to go back and do an internal repair. So I got my loop forming pliers here. I'm just going to make that adjustment loop. And I'm just going to get it to lay. So I'm holding this. Look, I'm holding it with my pinky back here, or my whatever ring finger on my left-hand side. I'm holding it level because I need this to be level on the front teeth. So now I'm just going to go ahead and bend this over the occlusion. And of course, there are so many different ways to bend the labial bow. Some bend, starting in the middle and they go to both sides. I tend to start in the middle and I go to the right side of the model, my right. This is patient's left. All right. Then I will clip this. And before I put my little tag or whatever tag you want, I just check, make sure it's level. I got to go down a little bit further, right? No, up a little further. There we go. So you can see I kind of use and abuse this model holder. It does have a little slot on here that I can do this to, like that. If any of you people are from dentures or RPD, mainly RPDs, you'll notice this thing is just a fancy survey jig. Is it a jig? I think it's a jig. Where you hold the model, but it doesn't have the little clamp where you can hold it at a certain angle. There's a lot of science, geometry that goes into removable partial dentures, which is pretty cool. I enjoyed making those back in dental lab school. I'm really lucky I got to go to dental lab school. There's one that was 3 hours away from me. It's closed now, but there are dental lab schools across the nation. If anybody's interested, let me know. I'll put a link in the description of where dental lab schools are, and they'll teach you start to finish. It's about a two to 3 year degree. I think you get your associates. There are some where you can get your bachelor's and even master's in dental lab technology, which is really neat. You don't necessarily have to have your degree, your to go to school to do this. You can apprentice, do on-the-job training, and learn to do this by, just getting trained on the job, which I think is pretty cool. The apprenticeship type of work doesn't really exist anymore. So, like, my son right now is working for me when he gets out of school, but he's mainly doing the 3D printing. But we got him doing pumicing, and when he gets his driver's license, he'll probably be doing deliveries for us. All that good stuff. There we go. It's a little longer. I'm going to cut it short. And then I'm just making sure it's level across the teeth. And then I'll put my loops here. And again, y'all can use whatever. Some people just do a little zigzag in the wire. Again, I always say, come up with your own, how you like to do them, and stick with it. And then, when retainers come back in for repair, you'd be like, oh, that's obviously not our retainer. And so even when you get to working for somebody or someone works for you, it's always good that the wire bender can copy what the boss does. I always said, a mark of a great wire bender is someone that can mimic someone else's wire bending, because everybody bends a little different. And when you get really good at wire bending, you can usually tell that, hey, that's my wire bending. That's how I do my wire. But putting these little tags in here, if I get a retainer back for repair, I can look at the bottom of it like this and go, oh, okay, it's got my usual retainer tag in there. So if you do one or two some people do circles, some people just leave it straight. Oh, he's in Phoenix. His name is Dr. Sean Hatch. No, I didn't see him. That would have been funny if he was my dentist when I lived there. I'm telling you, that would have been hilarious. Small world. And then here y'all are talking with each other on some random dude's live stream. So for the undercuts, they don't take long. I just hit that mic. I'm sorry. They don't take long. I use a little bit, half a step up in thickness. And I wish y'all could see. Let's see if I can get a good view of this. Probably can't even tell. The one on the right, this side, is the 020. The one on the left is 025. So I like to use a little bit thicker wire. It's got a little bit more spring to it. And what I do is, you saw me prep that with a burr. I'll just slide this in there. So this is just going to engage that interproximal space between the teeth. And I'm going to wax that in. So same thing with this up here. There'll be a little tip on here that doesn't have acrylic surrounding it. So the wax will keep the acrylic from going somewhere I don't want it to go. So we have multiple uses. So as you can see here, we use wax to block out the model. Those were undercuts that I blocked out. And we use it to, at least I use sticky wax to attach the wire to the model so it can hold it in place until I can get acrylic around, and then the acrylic holds the wire in place. So you just kind of need something to hold it in place. And you see, oh, yeah, I'm holding my mouth a certain way. And these start getting a little tiny. Now, the way I've also seen this done is they take a disc and they'll just cut straight down to gum level between the two teeth. And just lay the wire totally across there. I used to do this on wraparounds because these were great. These are a great little clasp. They engage the lingual of the teeth without having to go over the occlusion. As you can see, there's a lot of room to go over the occlusion here because the valley is deep between these teeth, but you start getting toward the back, there's not that much room, and you can, oh, look, I stabbed myself. Oh, gosh. Okay, that happens. Just, you got to get used to that in the lab. Y'all probably saw it happen. Another reason to round off those wire ends, they are sharp like a knife if you're not careful. I'll probably need to replace my cutters here. I feel like I need to clean out that undercut a little bit and get a sharp little knife here. I call this my Freddy Krueger knife, so hence the name. Why it looks like that. And notice I always do an up bend. I like to make a little handle. And I'm going to mark this here. Put my pliers just above that mark. Bend it in a U shape. Cut the U shape. And then use this little notch here in my pliers, this little notch right here. There you go. You can see it if I open it up. There's one on the other side too. Put that in there. Put that. And so I'm just fill this up with wax, and as the wax is cooling, while it's still molten, if that's the right word, I'll stick the wire in there, and then I can use a tool to kind of move it around. You know, keep it off of the stone model so that way acrylic can get up underneath it. This pink wax allows you to move the wire a little bit. That's flaring out a little bit for me, for my liking, right there. So I'm going to mark it and just tuck that in a little bit. Use my 3-prong. I'm going to just lift this up with my pinky there and curl this down like that. And put that back in place. There we go. Oh, that didn't seem to make a difference. Maybe I need to, it may have worked its way out. Yeah. Let's retry that. You know, let's just pretend I'm a good technician, and you know, let's just retry that. Get in there. There we go. Again, I don't like it touching the stone so much, but it's just lightly touching. I still think I can get acrylic underneath there, especially if I make the acrylic very runny. That very first layer, I like to get my acrylic real runny so it gets up underneath the acrylic. Yeah, I'm okay. I don't know when that happened. It's obviously already, you know, done. And of course, I've got a Band-Aid on my finger. hazards of the job. Yeah, I got so many cuts. Like I have and calluses on my fingertips. If anybody plays the guitar, I've heard that y'all. I don't play the guitar, but uh, you get calluses on your fingertips and stuff. You get kind of different calluses in this line of work, depending on the job you do. And just cleaning out that undercut a little bit. So I'm gonna slide that in there. Oh, so anyway, I was talking about before the how I used to slice between there with a disc that looks like this. And I would just slice right in between there to the gum line, and I would lay this wire all the way across like that. And then I'd bend the wraparound wire. And when I say wraparound, I mean this. So there'd be one of these in here, like that. And it'd be sticking out real far, right? And so the doctor said, leave them long, I'm going to cut them short. And he can actually cut them exactly where he needs them, to where they're not, poking the mouth too far, but they're long enough to get retention. Now, choose your tags wisely, or acrylic anchor tags or anchor bins or whatever you want to call them. As I'm filming things for, my online school I want to build, link below, by the way, if you're interested in possibly being a part of an online school that where I teach this stuff. I got to make sure that I talk about all the different names, the tag, the anchor bin, the tails, the wire tails. There's all sorts of names you can use, and it's pretty much who taught you how to do it. And even dentists, dental schools, they're all different. Hey, let's see, dentistry, dental things. Hey, you should DM me. Maybe we can collaborate or do an interview style thing, where we talk about the importance of impressions in labs and stuff. I just thought about that. Um, how do you cure your acrylic? Steam or submerge? High temperature, low temperature? Good question. I do a hybrid. So I steam to begin with, and then I submerge. So I like the aspects of the submerge, kind of get a deep cure going. But the drawback of the submerge is you have to make sure, if you're using a plaster model like this, you usually have to pre-soak the model. Otherwise, you'll get bubbles coming out of it into your acrylic, which is not good. So I learned this hybrid steam method from my previous boss, and it's real easy to do. And I'll show you right in a second. But there we go. We're all done. We have made distal anterior springs, or what do we call them? Distal finger springs. And there's a bonded lingual in the top. So they're having issues with controlling these front teeth. They're probably getting gaps between them. I think I see a gap right here. And I don't know if she's going to take this out and then they use the retainer. If this was just temporary to hold until they get the retainer back, that could be a thing, or it could be both. Usually you don't get this plus a retainer, but this plus a retainer is probably the best because, you know, it holds these anterior teeth exactly where they need to be, and then all these teeth are being held by the acrylic on the lingual, or just being held in place, and then the cheek is holding it. So that one's ready for acrylic, and we can end the stream there. But let me show you. Oh yeah. Oh, it's still here. Okay, that would be awesome. I'll send something to your channel email in a moment. Cool, let's do that. I like that idea. If y'all don't notice, I do a ORG podcast. I got one coming up the 8th. I think December 8th. Got one with the CEO of EasyRx. So if any of you in the Ortho Lab and you use EasyRx software, he's the CEO of EasyRx. His name's Tom Blankenbecker, and Todd Blankenbecker, and he's also partner of Sugalu, which is a new Ortho Lab supply company. So anyway, yeah, send me something. I like finger springs more than the bonded. Some people get used to the bonded. Some people hate the bonded. You know, I never know how that goes. But let me change views here and take my camera over here. You're gonna have to forgive the mess, but I have it cleaned up for the live stream. All right, let me switch cameras. So Perry, to answer your question, how do you cure your acrylic? Steam, submerge, high temperature, low temperature. So I don't know if this is high temperature or low temperature, but it is at 220. So I use this pressure pot here, and it is set for 220. This part down here maintains 220. This is Fahrenheit for those in America, or not in America. So this part just maintains it. When this light turns on, it means it's actively heating. This just turns on the heater part. And then this is the pressure. So what I do is, let me get a model here. I'm just going to grab a random model. Let's just pretend this has acrylic on it. So I've done my acrylic. You see how dirty that is. And it's ready to go in the water. But instead of submerging it in there, I put it on this coffee cup. So I have an old coffee cup in here. And I have this filled about 3/4 to 1/2 full of water. And I put it in here on this cup. And then I cure it. All right. So then that's in the cup. It's curing. And then I come back and I'll do the lower to that patient. So if it's an upper and lower, or I'll do the next one if it's ready to go. And then whenever I come with the one ready for acrylic, I will put it back. I'll put this in the water, and then that does its final cure submerged. And then I put this one on the cup. So the one on the cup's doing the steam method, and the one in the water is doing the submerge method. So like I said, I do a hybrid. So it just does because the water is in the bottom and this is not touching the water. If this is a plaster model, and I can probably show it on this one. Let's say it's this one right here. I'll show you what happens. So if you did not pre-soak this model, meaning you put it in a pan, you fill up the water up to about right there, and then let capillary action take over and pre-soak this model. When you put it in here, you'll get bubbles coming out of it. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, right here. Let me put this in the light. Maybe you can see it better. Yeah, see the bubbles coming off of there? So the bad thing is that the bubbles will actually pass through that wet acrylic, and you'll just get big old bubbles in the wet acrylic, and then it'll cure that way. And you got to redo the acrylic because it's just terrible. But you can just see those bubbles just coming right out of that thing. Yeah, see all those bubbles? But so what you do is, if you don't want to pre-soak it, when you get the acrylic on here, and again, it's a dry model, put it on here, and you get that initial set, that first 2 to 3 minutes, that initial set where you can't put your fingernail in it, where it's hard. and then you can drop it in the water after that, and the bubbles, it'll bubble, but it won't bother the acrylic because it's already done its initial set. And then while it's in there, the water will help wash away the free monomer radicals and all that stuff, and I think does a nice deep soak cure. Now, for 3D printed models, they don't bubble. So if I put them in there, again, it's not going to bubble because there's no air trapped in the plaster of the, there's no air bubbles in it. They're printed. I mean, there's this. I guess there could be air bubbles, but usually in the process of pouring up this stone, you incorporate air bubbles in there, and that causes that problem. But you can see how dirty this is. You can see we peel it off, so whenever, where did I put that model? There we go. So when this is done curing, we can just peel this off. This loosens up just a little bit, and we just peel this off, and then we peel all this stuff off of the model, and that's it. So we'll end it there. Appreciate y'all hanging out with me and dental things. I'll look forward to that email, and then everybody else can we'll talk dental assistant, dental lab partnership, because we're all part of the team. The way I like to think of it, you know, hey, maybe if football terms, y'all know I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. You know, the quarterback is the dentist, or the dentist is the quarterback, and like assistants are the linemen, and they help the quarterback and they protect the quarterback, and then like us labs are the running back or whatever, and they hand the ball to us, and we take it, and we take the team, you know, to the next level, and then you know, it's a partnership, it's a team. So I notice I have a turkey leg in my picture profile YouTube. You do? Is that from Thanksgiving? My wife cooked a turkey, first time in a long time, for our Thanksgiving, and I didn't get a single turkey leg. I'm kind of upset about that. But anyway, that's been, an hour 20, so we went over a little bit, but just what we went over, if you're just tuning in, where did I put that? We did a bonded lingual, and we did a, nope, that is not what we worked on. We made a retainer over a bonded lingual that's already in the mouth with little lingual finger springs. So this looks like this might be my future live stream. Just do a generic live stream, and I answer questions and bend wires and do acrylic and all that stuff while we're live. I like talking with y'all. It's fun. Yeah, Amy, have a wonderful weekend, everyone. I'm a Cowboys fan too, ever since I was little. Go Boys. Yeah, they had a good game last night. They shouldn't have been that close, but they did pull it through. So yeah, I've always been, since my very first jersey, number 11, Danny White. If you're Amy, I don't know if you're in Texas or you said you lived in Arizona for a little while. I don't know if you're here or there or where. But anyway, I appreciate y'all hanging out. This was fun. And I'll see y'all next Friday for the ORG live stream. And stay tuned to that, and you can see another aspect of the Ortho Lab, which is the software we use. And we'll talk to the CEO of that software and an ortho supply company. So come with your questions ready, and you can see that part of the lab. So let me get my outro here. Again, the volume on this is really loud, and I'm really upset that it's really loud, but just fair warning, turn down your volume, and we'll end it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Till next time, happy day.